Good day, I am Jansen A, and for today, we will be discussing how to write modern office communication. Here is the outline of our discussion. First, we're going to discuss the keys to successful communication. Next, we're going to discuss stages of writing a workplace paper. Third, different kinds of workplace paper. And fourth, gender-sensitive communication. Okay, so ano nga ba ang mga kailangan nating tandaan para makagawa tayo ng isang effective workplace communication? No, kasi hindi naman pwede na basta-basta na lamang tayo gagawa ng isang document at iisipin natin na maintindihan na tayo ng ating reader. So, we have to take into consideration certain aspects or certain elements para ma-ensure na kung sino man ang babasa ng ating communication, maiintindihan niya ang ating point o yung ating message sa kanila. Okay, so for this part, we are going to discuss mainly the elements, okay, that we should consider in writing a successful communication. So bago tayo magsimula magsulat, okay, dapat kailangan muna nating i-consider kung ano ba ang ating organizational culture or organizational image. No? So, ang tatanong natin sa sarili natin, who are you representing? And also, who are you writing to? No? So, very important itong mga questions na ito. No? Kasi, kadalasan, maaapektuhan kung paano tayo magsalita at paano ito i-receive ng ating reader depending kung ano ba yung organizational image or organizational culture nila. Okay? So, may mga effect ito kung paano natin i-word ang certain statements, pagko-construct ng ating mga sentences, at ano yung approach na gagamitin natin para maging effective ang reception nito doon sa ating mga readers. No? So, sometimes, we have to be a little bit strict or professional sa ating wordings, or sometimes pwede naman tayo maging relax o kaya naman ay medyo light ang ating writing, depende sa kung sino ang ating kausap at kung sino ang nire-represent natin. Bawat organization ay mayroong pinopromote na certain image o certain culture. No? So it really depends on ano ba ang gustong ipakita ng organization ninyo, no? So, for example, okay, may mga organization na gusto nila na parang ang vibe nila ay homey lang sila o kaya ay family-oriented. So, kadalasan, pag ganun yung ating mga corporation or company or organization na nire-represent, magre-reflect yan sa kung paano sila mag-communicate, no? Makikita din natin sa the way they construct their slogans, or makikita din natin sa kanilang icons na sila talaga ay nagpro-promote ng ganong kind of image. On the other hand, mayroon din namang mga corporations na yung sinasabi natin na no nonsense kumbaga, no? So ang kanilang priority is business, no? So hindi nila kailangan ng mga flowery words, no? Hindi nila kailangan ng mga paligoy-ligoy pa, no? They would prefer straight to the point, no? So sa ganyang uri ng mga corporations or organizations, mas na makakabuti, no, to be concise and go straight to what you want to tell, no, that corporation, no? Meron din ng mga corporation, for example, na they would like to exude power o kaya aggression, no? So, pwedeng gano'n naman na magiging atake natin sa mga ganyang companies, no? So, pag mayroong letter tayo sa kanila, kailangan natin pakita that we are aggressive, that we are ready to take this opportunity, kumbaga, no? So, talagang madidetermine, no, the way we talk, the way we communicate to a certain organization or company based on their image or their culture. Okay? On the other hand, kailangan din natin nating maintindihan yung sarili nating culture, no? Kasi it's not enough na alam mo kung sino yung kausap mo, no? It's not enough na alam mo ang image or culture ng kakausapin mo, no? Pero dapat alam mo din kung sino din ang nire-represent mo. if you are part of an organization and you are communicating on behalf of that organization, natural, kailangan mag-exude ka din nung necessary na image or vibe na gustong i-project ng inyong corporation. So, let's say for example, no? So, ito yung ating mga companies, no? So, kung ang inyong company is supposed to be family-oriented at you want to be light and warm, no? Yung gusto nyong image, no? So, paano ba natin sasabihin that we would like to invite investors or possible partners to our company, no? So, possible, ang sasabihin natin ay tulad nito, no? From the bottom of our hearts, we invite you to be part of our amazing journey. Ayan. So, di ba parang pagka narinig mo yan, so parang very welcoming, no? Very warm ng kanyang tone, no? On the other hand, let's say kung ang inyong company naman is yung no nonsense ang image, no, or yung culture niya, no, straight to business kaagad siya, no. So paano kaya natin sasabihin yung or ipo-project yung ganong message, no? So it could be like this, no. So our company is open to more collaboration with your organization. So straight to the point, no. Wala nang paligoy-ligoy pa, wala nang mabulaklak na salita, no. Sinasabi na kaagad nila sa potential partner nila na gusto namin, no, na maka-partner kayo, no. So on the other hand, dun sa example natin, what if, no, yung company naman, no, ay aggressive, no. So mas sila, no, mas energetic yung dating dapat, no. So eto, paano mo siya sasabihin? Yan, okay? So you want to be ahead of the game? Then join our team and be the best that you can be, no. So ayan, no. So parang ang dating, no, very siya, enthusiastic siya, no, and mararamdaman mo yung energy sa kanilang wordings, no. So as you can see, different image, different cultures affect, okay, the possible outcome ng inyong message, no. So you have to word it carefully in order to exude yung image ng company ninyo, or if you are talking to this company, you have to appeal, no, dun sa kanilang sentiments by using the particular image or culture that they foster in their company. So next, we have to know the purpose. Bakit tayo gagawa ng isang workplace communication or paper? Okay, so the purpose could be to create a record, or to request or provide information, or to instruct, or possibly to persuade. Okay, so to create a record means we're trying to chronicle, okay, a particular incident, or we would like to preserve certain information, no. So dito halimbawa mayroon ng incident report, no. So that would be to create a record of what happened, no. So it could also be when you submit a report to your superior, no. So para lang magkaroon ng record, no, regarding certain data na possibly kakailanganin nyo in the future. Okay? So this particular purpose is very helpful para magkaroon kayo ng future reference, no? So ang next is yung to request or provide information, no. So ito dalawa ito, no. So to request information, let's say for example, you need to know a particular detail, no. So you have to write someone, no. So you have to issue a memo requesting for information, or you can write a letter, no. So on the other hand, what if you are the recipient of the memo or the letter? Then your purpose is to provide information to whoever is asking for it, no. So that's the next purpose. And of course, we also have to instruct, no. So dito kadalasan yung mga memo natin, diyan papasok yan, no. So if you will notice, no, kadalasan ang mga memo, it asks people to do something, no? So basically, its purpose is to instruct people on what to do. Okay? There could be also some workplace communication na solely ang kanyang purpose lang is to give instruction to one or two employees or workers in an organization, no? And finally, to persuade, no? So this could take the form of a letter, no? So for example, you are appealing for reconsideration for a particular decision that your superior already issued, no? So mag-a-appeal ka, no? You're trying to persuade your superior na baguhin yung kanyang decision, no? So this could also be the other way around, no? Pwede namang yung superior ang makikipag-usap sa kanyang mga subordinates. So for example, meron siyang gustong policy na i-implement sa organization, and nararamdaman ng superior na parang hindi yata masyadong receptive yung kanyang mga employees or subordinates regarding certain policy. So he or she can write a workplace document or communication in order to persuade the employees or workers to consider, no, giving the policy a try, no, or to comply with the policy. Okay? So this purposes, no, can vary from one situation to another, no? So it really depends, no? Ano ba ang gusto mo when you write your communication. Okay, so the next thing that we should consider is the audience, no? So sino ba ang babasa ng ating communication? Okay, so in that regards, we have to consider the different directions of the communication. So it could be an upward communication, no? So meaning to say, you are communicating to someone who is superior to you, no? So for example, ikaw, you would like to request a particular document from your superior, and then that would be an upward communication, no? It could also be lateral communication, no? So if you are communicating to someone who is more or less on the same level as you, no? So for example, you are communicating to a co-employee, o kaya naman you're communicating to an employee from a different department or a different division, pero you know for a fact na pareho lang naman kayo ng rank, no? So that's lateral communication, no? Next, you can also be communicating to your subordinates, so that would be downward communication, no? So this could also be for example, the principal communicating to the students, no? So downward communication din siya. Okay, and finally, if you want to communicate with third parties or people outside your organization, then that would be an outward communication. Okay, so it is important to know what kind of direction your communication will take, no? Why? Because it will also dictate on the manner that you are going to write your communication, no? So for example, 'di ba, pagka upward communication, so think about it, ang kausap mo ay boss mo, no? So syempre dapat ang communication mo very respectful, no? Kasi boss mo 'yun eh, 'di ba? Imagine if you become disrespectful to your boss or you're rude in your communication, no? So medyo mako-compromise yung relationship ninyo at baka maging disadvantage sa iyo 'yon, no? On the other hand, pag lateral communication siya, although you still have to respect, no, because these are your co-employees, no, but it's not that kind of level, no, na because you know that you're talking to someone na ka-level mo lang, no? So may respect, no? Pero hindi katulad ng respect na ina-accord natin sa mga superior natin, no? Pagkausap natin sila, no? So sometimes it can even be informal yung mga communication natin pagka mga ka-empleyado lang natin, mga co-workers natin, no? So sometimes hindi na nga siya pinapadaan to a formal technical paper, no? So sometimes notes lang 'yan, no? Pwedeng handwritten lang sa isang papel na sabihin mo, uy, Vicky, pahingi naman ng ganito. Bigyan mo naman ako ng ganitong copy ng ganyan. Yung mga ganon, ano? So, dahil more or less, alam mo na magka-level lang kayo, then meron pa kayong familiarity with one another, no? So, kaya yung communication could be more relaxed, no? But still, no, it is still encouraged na mayroon tayong respect sa isa't isa. No? On the other hand, if it is a downward communication, since you are talking to your subordinates or your constituents, no, dito kasi makikita natin na since you are the one who is in the higher position, no, the way you talk to people, okay, is a little bit more assertive, no, na sinasabi mo na dahil ako ay ganito ang position ko, no, you have to listen to me. Or parang nag-exude ka na ng authority mo, no? You can also notice na pagka downward communication siya, since the superior is talking to the subordinate, okay, mas malaki yung leeway niya na maging informal or even nag-i-include na siya ng humor, no? Kasi syempre, if you are the boss and you're talking to your employees or subordinates, no, meron ka ng luxury na biruin sila, no, because you know na wala namang magiging repercussion kung bibiruin mo sila, no. Unlike kung ang bibiruin mo is yung boss mo in an upward communication, what if yung boss mo, no, did not take it lightly, no, or did not appreciate your joke, no? So pwedeng ma-compromise yung inyong relationship. But if the boss is the one inserting humor in the communication, no, so parang dahil ikaw ay subordinate, no, parang more or less you don't have the choice, no, but appreciate that humor, no. So ayun, pag downward communication, more relaxed, no, pwede siyang maging informal to some extent, no. And then if you're talking to someone who is not part of your organization or an outward communication, the general rule is you have to be very respectful. It could be similar to a communication, an upward communication, no, kasi you don't know who this person is, especially if you are not familiar to whom you are writing, no. So it is better and safe that you communicate with utter respect, no, so as not to offend that person, and also to gain rapport, no, between the two of you. Okay. Next is the context. Okay, so in this part, no, we are talking about yung ano ba yung condition, no, nung ikaw ay nagsulat, no. For example, what is the prevailing situation? Kasi what if, for example, the topic that you want to discuss with the person to whom you are writing to is about an emergency, no. So dapat there is a sense of urgency doon sa tone ng iyong pagsusulat, no. So yung context na yon, na because this is an urgent matter, no, it will typically control, no, the way how the communication should flow, no. If it is for example, you are talking about a certain reminder to a person, no, so hindi siya masyadong urgent, no, so iba rin ang atake mo, no. Next is, what is the background of your subject, no, kasi it could be inherent, no, doon sa subject matter, no, yung ano ba yung kanyang nature. For example, you're talking about a very funny mistake that happened in your organization or company. Okay? So, of course, you would like to exude that this is not a big deal, or you would like to project an image that this is just something that we should laugh about. No? So, yun yung context. But if it is a big mistake, no, it's a huge mistake in the part of your one of your subordinates or one of your co-employees, no, then that will also, no, dictate how the tone of your communication should be, no. So yun yung background, no. And then finally, why are you writing? No, why are you writing? Are you writing because you are one of the affected people? Are you writing because you are one of the concerned citizens? Are you writing because you are worried that it might affect you in the future? No? So those are the contexts that might affect, okay, your communication. The next thing that we should consider is the content. So you have to ask yourself, what do you want the reader to know? Okay, so yan yung ano ba ang gusto mong anong gusto mong ipaalam doon sa magbabasa ng iyong communication. Okay? Or you can also ask yourself, what do you want the reader to do? Ano bang gusto mong gawin ng reader pagkatapos niyang mabasa ang communication mo? Okay? And of course, you really have to pay attention on the details of your message. No? So this content, no, can also affect the way you construct your communication. Let's say, for example, you want your reader to know about a certain information na alam mo na magiging helpful sa kanila, no? So you might want to take a direct approach, no? But what if, no, your information is about some sort of a gossip or something that will really excite your audience, no? So sometimes it could be helpful na yung construction ng iyong communication could be leading to a certain climax, or you will put a little suspense in the construction of your communication, no? And also when we talk about what you want your reader to do, no? So we're talking about basically if you are persuading someone to do something or to change the opinion, no? So sometimes you have to really focus, no, on the why this reader should do it, no? So it could be a big deal, it could be something that we really have to focus on in the content, no, especially if you really want your readers to do something, no. So you have to tell them why should they do this, no. Also it is also important that you have sufficient details, no, kasi it's not enough na sasabihin mo na, oh, ganito ang information natin, no, ganito ang gusto kong gawin nyo, no. Ang magiging tanong sa'yo nung reader mo, bakit, no, what are your evidence, what are your proof, no, para maniwala kami sa'yo. Okay, so you really have to pay attention to your details. And finally, we have to consider the tone of your communication. So when determining your tone, we must remember that it must be reader-centered. What do we mean by reader-centered? Okay? Parang yung normal na sinasabi ngayon ng mga kabataan, no? Ay, pa-main character ka, no? So dapat ganon yung ipaparamdam natin doon sa reader natin, no? So dapat ang feeling ng reader is, okay, para sa akin talaga ito, no? So yung reader magfo-focus siya doon sa communication mo. Okay? So also we have to avoid slangy or vernacular style. So this is a technical paper, this is a workplace communication. So therefore, we have to have that some sort of professionalism. Okay? So dapat i-avoid natin yung mga slangs or mga vernacular style na communication, no? So for example, we should avoid using yung mga words like ain't o kaya ay wanna or gonna. So hindi dapat, no? So pag kesa sasabihin natin na gonna, you have to say going to, or wanna, want to, no? So dapat ganon, no? Since this is a formal communication, so dapat ganon, no? Okay, so we also have to favor positive wording over negative. In this regard, especially, no, if you are talking to someone whom you don't know, or you're talking to your superiors, no, mas maganda kung ang wording natin ay positive, no? Kasi sino ba naman ang gustong magbasa ng negative, no? So mas pleasing sa mata, at of course mas nakaka-encourage, no, pag positive yung wording niya. Even if you are telling something bad, no, but if you put it in a positive wording, okay, the reader might take it a little bit better, no? So for example, no, pag sinabi ng let's say gusto ng sabihin ng employer na hindi ka tanggap sa trabaho, di ba? Pag sinabi natin outright doon sa applicant na I'm very sorry, but we are rejecting your application. Di ba? Parang medyo masakit, no? Medyo masakit yung dating niya, no? Pag ganun ang wording niya. But imagine, no? What if you say, good day, your resume is very impressive. Okay, we saw that you are really a good worker and an employee. You exude the proper attitude, and your credentials are really amazing. Okay, it is for this purpose or for this reason that we truly believe that you deserve to work in an environment that can nurture you further. Thus, we would like to suggest that you apply for a better position in a different corporation. No, 'di ba parang pagka ganun yung wording, no? Talagang nai-buff natin yung ego ng tao, no? So therefore, nung na-realize niya na denied pala yung kanyang application, no? At least, no, na-boost naman natin kahit paano yung kanyang moral. So nagkaroon ng buffer doon sa bad news na sinasabi natin. Alright, so now let's move on to the stages of writing a workplace paper. Of course, when you want to write an effective workplace paper, it has to undergo several stages. Hindi yung basta ka nila magsusulat, no? Out of the blue, bigla ka nila mag-create ng memo or letter, no? Without even researching. Okay? If you really want to create an effective workplace paper, you have to go through these stages. Okay? So ano-ano ba yung mga stages na yan? First is the planning stage. So sabi ko nga kanina, when you want to if you want to create an effective workplace communication, okay, dapat meron niyang planning stage, no? So dapat pag-isipan mo muna ano ba ang gusto mong gawin. So during this planning stage, no, wala ka pa talagang idea, no, kung ano yung gagawin mo, no? So that's why you have to plan, no, kung ano ba ang mga details o kung ano-ano ba yung mga resources na kailangan mong i-check, no, for you to create that effective workplace communication. First, the question is, what motivated you to write the communication? Bakit ka nga ba magsusulat ng workplace communication na ito? Okay, so there are several scenarios. Okay, so the first one is when you have advanced knowledge. So you have advanced knowledge when it is customary or regularly naman na nagsasubmit ka o nagfa-furnish ka ng ganitong workplace communication. Let's say for example, meron ka bang quarterly report o kaya monthly report or weekly report you know, no? Alam mo na kailangan mo siyang i-submit, no? Kailangan mo siyang ipasa, no? So, before ka magpasa, alam mo nang gagawin mo siya eh. So, may advanced knowledge ka na, no? So, when it comes to this kinds of communication, no? Kadalasan, if it is really routinary with people, madali na silang gumawa ng mga communication. Kasi nga, madalas naman nilang ginagawa yon. Okay? Another thing is, another scenario is when there is an impromptu request, no? So, your boss, your superior, might approach you and would ask a certain data or information from you, especially if you are holding such data for your office, no? So, when it comes to impromptu requests, sometimes it might not be coursed through the proper channel, no? It could be as an informal conversation between you and your boss, no? And yet, we consider it as a request, nevertheless. Okay, so for example, pwedeng ang nangyayari dyan ay nagkikwentuhan lang naman kayo ng boss mo, no? So tinatanong ka ng boss mo, oh, by the way, no? Ano nga palang nangyari doon sa trip ninyo, yung business trip mo na pinadala kita, no? Tapos ikaw naman nagkikwento ka na, ay okay naman po boss, masaya naman po, no? Tapos sabi mo sa boss mo, ay kaso boss, no, na yung palang hotel doon mga medyo pricey doon sa pinuntahan namin. Okay? So tapos biglang naging curious yung boss mo, no? Dahil nasabi mo yung pricey hotel accommodation. So biglang tinanong ka ng boss mo, magkano ba yung hotel accommodations doon? Tapos ikaw naman, boss, ganito yung rate nila, ganyan. Tapos biglang na-curious ulit yung boss mo. So ang tanong niya sa'yo, so how much did you spend, no, doon sa trip na yan, no? Since this is an official business, no? So syempre ang nagbayad niyan is yung company, no? So yun yung nasa isip ng boss mo, no? So tinanong niya, sabi niya sa'yo, by the way, can you submit a report, no, regarding your travel, no? And also please indicate the expenses that you have incurred during that trip, no? So makikita natin it's just a simple conversation between you and your boss, and yet it led to an impromptu request, no? So some people might think na ano lang naman yan, oral lang naman yung request, no? Probably I can just ignore it, no? But no, if your boss asked you to submit a particular workplace communication or workplace paper, you treat it seriously, no? Kahit oral request lang yan, no? Because it is from your superior, you really have to comply. Okay? So wag nating babaliwalain yung mga ganong request porque nagkwekwentuhan lang kayo nung una, akalain mo joke lang niya yon, no? So hindi, no? Pag hiningi sa iyo yon, it is your obligation as one of the employees or subordinates to comply. Okay? And finally, it could be through the writer's initiative, no? So pwede yung writer mismo naman ang nakaisip na gusto niyang mag-create ng workplace communication or paper. So most of the time, this is because the employee or the worker is going to complain about something, or he or she wants to inform the employer about a certain situation that might affect the welfare of the company, no? So ano nangyari doon? Edi yung employee mismo or yung worker mismo ang nag-initiate ng sulat, no? Kahit hindi siya sinabihan or wala siyang prior knowledge doon sa gagawin niya, no? But because it is motivated by an urgent need, or possibly dahil hindi nakikita yung issue ng employer, kaya siya nag-initiate ng ganitong klase ng workplace communication. Next, you have to understand the audience. Sino ba ang kinakausap mo? Sino ba ang sinusulatan mo? Okay, so it really helps if you have an idea kung sino ba ang reader mo. no? Kasi it could also affect how you will construct your communication. Things like educational background or their inclination, in sometimes political affiliation, makakaapekto yan doon sa way ng pakikipag-usap natin sa kanila. Okay? So for example, kung ang magiging audience mo, recipient mo or reader mo ay hindi naman nakatapos ng college or high school graduate lang sila, no? So ano ang kailangan nating tandaan, no? So of course you have to adjust, no, doon sa reader mo. Maybe you should not use highfalutin words or yung complicated sentence construction na possibly ma-confuse yung reader mo. Okay? So but if you are talking to, for example, professionals, okay, you're talking to experts, no, you might want to use the jargon that they use in their expertise. Okay? Unlike for example kung ang kausap mo ay lay people, mga ordinaryong tao lang, okay, hindi ka dapat gagamit ng mga technical jargons, no, na possibly hindi nila maiintindihan. So you shouldn't be using engineering jargons or legal jargons kung ang kausap mo lang ay mga ordinaryong tao, kasi chances are hindi naman nila naiintindihan yung sinasabi mo. Okay? So next, we also have to match the writer's and audience purpose. Okay? This is a good tip, no? Kasi if you want your communication to be received with a better output or outcome from your reader, it is helpful if you know ano ba yung gusto ng iyong reader, no? Kasi kung kaya mo mag-jive yung purpose mo at yung purpose ng audience, pag nagtagpo sila, no, malaki ang chance na mag-a-agree sa'yo kung sino man yung sinusulatan mo. Okay, let's say for example, kung ikaw ay isang proponent ng isang let's say for example bagong policy sa inyong LGU, at alam mo na ang iyong incumbent chief executive sa inyong local government unit ay matinding animal advocate. Okay? Ang proposal mo is maging safe ang ating street, no? But at the same time, no, ang problem kasi natin ay maraming stray dogs and stray cats sa paligid. So knowing that your audience is an animal advocate, no, hindi mo pwedeng i-propose sa kanya na eliminate all of these animals, no, kasi alam mong animal advocate yung tao eh. So ano ba ang possible na maging approach mo dyan, no? If you want to remedy that problem, let's say for example problem with stray cats and dogs, no, so probably ang dapat gawin mong atake is yung magja-jive doon sa purpose ng iyong reader, no? So in this case, if animal advocate yung animal welfare advocate yung sinusulatan mo, possibly ang gawin mong atake is eliminating them outright, no? Possibly catching them and bringing them to an animal shelter would be a more appealing, no, option to your reader, no? So what we're talking about here is that if you can actually match, no, yung gusto mong mangyari doon sa gusto ring mangyari ng reader mo, no, mas malaki ang tsansa na pagbibigyan ka nung sinusulatan mo. Next is the preparation stage. Now, because of the planning stage, kilala mo na kung sino susulatan mo. Okay? Alam mo na kung ano ang reason kung bakit ka nagsusulat. Now, you have to now prepare, no, in drafting your communication. So you have to gather all your resources, okay? And also you have to determine ano ba magiging atake mo, no, approach mo when writing your workplace communication. Part of your preparation stage is gathering your information. Okay, so what do you want to know? No, what are information that you need to gather for you to prepare in drafting your communication? First, you have to learn more about the audience and their environment. So, a while ago na pag-usapan na natin that you really should know who your audience is. Okay? But this time, you also have to know their environment. No? Kasi it could also dictate on how you are going to approach your communication. Kasi what if, for example, your audience is in a busy working environment. Possible na nasa field siya and therefore wala siyang time masyado na magbasa. That would mean that the proper way of approaching that kind of situation given your audience is to give a shortened version. No? Mas direct to the point kasi alam mo na wala siyang time na magbasa. No? And therefore, dapat mas maikli, no, yung iyong information sa kanya, yung message mo sa kanya. Contrast that to a person who is in an office, in air conditioned pa yung office niya, no? So medyo comfortable naman siya sa kanyang opisina at marami namang siyang time. Okay? So anong ibig sabihin? Edi pwede ka magbigay sa kanya ng isang mas mahabang version, no? Kasi alam mo na kaya niyang ma-appreciate or kaya niyang maintindihan yung mas mahabang communication kasi favorable yung kanyang condition. Okay? Aside from that, you also have to learn more about your own environment, no? So hindi lang yung sa audience mo. So ikaw din, no? Ano ba yung working environment mo? May time ka ba na makapagsulat ng mahaba or sobrang busy ba ng iyong workplace to the point na you can only manage to write shortened versions of messages or information, no? Also, you have to learn more about your subject matter. Okay? Kasi hindi ka naman pwedeng mag-communicate regarding a subject matter to another person without knowing about your subject matter itself, no? So dapat mag-research ka muna tungkol dun sa subject matter kasi baka yung sasabihin mo dun sa reader mo might not make sense, no? So it is very helpful if you can have a good idea of what you are talking about. So what are the possible sources of your information? Okay, so the first one is your own resources. Okay, so ano ba yung mga your own resources? Ano ba yung meron ka? Okay, so kadalasan it could be personal experience. Okay, pag personal experience, ano ba yung naranasan mo, no? At ano ba yung personal knowledge mo? Okay, however, I would like to caution regarding this kind of source, no? Kasi there are experiences that might be applicable only to you, no? So for example, sasabihin mo na mabilis lang naman mag-apply ng visa sa US Embassy, no? What if yung experience mo na yon is peculiar sa iyo lang, no? It doesn't mean that it also applies to other people, no? So you have to be very careful when you are asserting your own experiences as a basis, no? Another thing you should consider when you are going to use your own experience as a source of information is it true, no? Totoo ba, no, yung experience mo? Okay, baka kasi ito ay nasa isip mo lang, no? Or it could be a hope for you, o wish mo na ganun talagang nangyari, pero not necessarily yun yung actual na nangyari. Okay? Also, titingnan natin, can it be verified yung iyong claim, no? Baka naman kasi wala namang makakapagpatotoo na totoo nga yung experience na yon, no? And you should also consider, ito ba ay papaniwalaan ng mga tao, no? So what if, for example, you said, ako na experience ko na lumangoy sa dagat, tapos mayroong pating na gustong kumagat sa akin. So anong ginawa ko? I kicked the shark in the belly, no? And it went away, no? So yung claim mo na na-repel mo yung shark by kicking the stomach, no? Sa'yo totoo siguro 'yon, no? Sa totoo 'yon. Pero what if, no? Someone would come out and say, oh, that cannot be true, no? Kasi it will not bother the shark if you kick the stomach or whatnot, no? Yung mga ganon, no? So baka hindi maniwala ang mga tao sa iyo if that happens, no? So another source of information which is coming from your own is yung mga notes mo, no? So possibly you are taking notes when there is a discussion, when there's a meeting, no? Ikaw yung nagja-jot down ng iyong sariling information, no? So that could be a source of information, no? That is coming from yourself, no? Next is your organization's resources, no? So if you are part of an organization, you're part of an institution, so of course your office, your department, or your company must have some kind of resource center. Okay, so if you are in the particular office, you might have a records office. Okay, like for example in URS we have a records office, so that could be a good source of information. Okay, so if your office has a library, if there's a database available for you, then those could be your sources of organization within of your sources of information within the organization. Okay, and finally, of course, for your resources within your organization, another source could be your co-employees, your co-workers, because they might have some insights as well regarding your query, no? Kasi baka may mga ka-empleyado ka na matagal nang nagbo-work dyan at meron na siyang experience tungkol dun sa particular na tinatanong mo. So they could be a good source of information. Okay? And finally, another source of information could be external sources. So ito yung sa labas, no? So this could take the form of a library outside your company or organization. So public libraries are a good source of information. Okay, if they have external databases, then you can also access those. This will also include internet sources. Okay, with regards to people, external resources could also include experts in different fields. So you can interview them, pwede mo silang tanungin, mag-consult ka para makuha mo yung information na kailangan mo. Now, what are the strategies in gathering information? Okay, so paano nga ba tayo makakakuha ng information? Okay, so first one is interview. Okay, so syempre pagka you know someone who might have the information that you need, you might opt to use interview as your mode of gathering information. Okay, so what are the things that you should remember when it comes to interview? Okay, so first and foremost, yung mang i-interviewin mo ay may sufficient knowledge, no, doon sa subject matter. Okay, of course, you also have to find out meron ba siyang time na magpa-interview sa'yo kasi baka may target ka nga na interviewin kasi alam mo expert yun pero yun naman pala wala siyang time, no? So better find another person, no? Another thing to consider when it comes to interview, dapat ang mga tanong mo doon sa interviewee ay kaya niyang masagot, no? So kasi baka you assume na kaya niyang sagutin yung question mo, no? Yung pala wala siyang idea regarding your topic, no? So let's say for example, akala mo na pag sinabi mong scientist ay alam nila tungkol sa lahat tungkol sa science. So you're trying to interview a geologist regarding the reason why ang Pluto ay hindi na isa sa mga planets ng solar system, no? So given the situation, no, I don't think that the geologist, although learned, no, he or she might not be able to answer your question properly. Okay, so dapat yon i-consider natin, kaya bang masagot ng ating interviewee yung tanong natin. Another strategy in gathering information is brainstorming. So two heads are better than one. Okay, so in this strategy, no, you're trying to get ideas from several people, no? So this could be helpful, no, when you are drawing blank, wala ka nang maisip, no? So by brainstorming, no, you can solicit different perspectives from different people, no, and thus you can create, no, a better concept or a better approach in drafting your workplace communication. Okay, another good strategy in gathering information is surveying. Okay, this is really helpful if you want to establish a status quo or the current phenomenon, no? So let's say for example, gusto mong mag-propose ng bagong flavor ng juice, no? So tinatanong anong pwede mong gawin? Tanungin mo yung mga consumers, ano ba ang flavor ng juice na gusto nyong matikman, no? So by doing that, no, you are asking the consensus of a lot of people, no? So surveying is effective, no, if you can find people who are within that certain criteria na makakapagbigay sa iyo ng tamang sagot, no? So for example, gusto mong malaman kung ang mga women ay nakakatanggap ng equal treatment sa kanilang workplace, tapos ang sinurvey mo puro lalaki, no? So parang hindi yata tama, no? So dapat ang isa-survey mo is yung mga tao na kaya makapagbigay sa iyo ng information na gusto mo. Okay? So and finally, internet research, no? So ito yung mga favorite na gawin ng mga tao, no? Kasi it's very easy to do, no? As long as you have your computer or your cell phone and you have internet access, you can do this, no? However, just a caution, ano? Kasi meron tayong mga sinasabi na yung knowledge nila, no, is coming from certain social media o kaya ay virtual platform na hindi naman basically intended, no, to provide information, no? So medyo hindi reliable yung mga information na nakukuha nila from this kinds of sites, no? So for this purpose, no, it is very helpful if you can determine what are the legitimate sites where you can get your information. So normally here in the Philippines, it is helpful if you can get your information from websites with ending with that .gov.ph or .edu.ph or .org. Okay, because those who are using these kinds of sites, no, are verified, no. So pag .gov.ph, so that would be a government agency or instrumentality. .edu.ph, that means it's a school. And .org, that means it is a legitimate organization. Okay. Now let's move on to the conceptualization stage. So because of the planning stage, more or less nagkaroon ka na ng idea on the different considerations that you have to know in working on your workplace communication. With the preparation stage, you are now equipped with the proper information, okay, so to create your workplace communication. Now that you have all those resources and those information, you have to now visualize, okay, how will your workplace communication take shape. Okay, so that is the conceptualization stage. During the conceptualization stage, you have to organize your workplace communication by anticipating your audience response or their needs. Okay, so for example, if you are writing to a person whom you know who is really eager to approve your proposal, okay, you don't really need any other things to say because you know in the end this person is going to accept or approve your proposal. Let's say for example, mayroong ang susulatan mo, mahilig siyang maglaro ng sports, no? Tapos yung ikaw ang gusto mo ay gusto mo mag-propose ng health and wellness activity. So what can you do, no? By knowing that your audience, okay, would really like activities involving sports, no, and you are proposing a sports activity, you know that this person is going to approve your proposal, no? So wala nang ano dyan, wala nang sugar coating, no? So you can just go ahead and straight to the point, no? I am to develop the health and wellness of our workers or employees. We would like to propose a sports fest, no, to amongst all the employees. Okay, so ganon, straightforward na lang siya, no? Kasi alam mo naman na papayagan ka niya, no? Contrast that to the situation wherein you know for a fact that your reader is going to oppose your proposal or your claim, no? So if that is the case, then it would be better, no, to build your case before you ask for the consideration of your proposal, no? Let's say for example, yung reader mo ayaw niya ng sports, no, hindi siya mahilig sa sports, no? So but you would like to propose a health and wellness na activity, no, in the form of a sports fest, no? So ano ang pwede mo gawin, no? You don't go straight, no? Kasi kailangan mo muna mag-lay ng foundation, no? Bigyan mo siya ng proper motivation para aprubahan ang iyong proposal, no? So pwede mong sabihin na in the past years there is a sudden decline of employees staying in our company, primarily because they are suffering from different illnesses and health problems, brought about by the working conditions, no? So pwede mong sabihin na in this regard, it would be helpful if our company will be fostering some sort of activities that will improve, okay, the health of our employees. This would also translate to better productivity amongst our rank and file employees, okay, and thus higher revenue for our company. Okay, in this regard, may we request for the approval of a sports fest amongst all the employees, okay, to promote health and wellness, okay, for everyone, no? So ganun, no? So mapapansin natin, hindi siya nag-direct to the point, no? Kasi pag nag-direct to the point siya, maiisip na kagad ng reader niya na, no, I will not accept this. It doesn't really matter kung ano yung mga supporting data mo or yung supporting information mo, because kung sa una pa lang ayaw na niya kaagad doon sa proposal mo, wala na siyang ganang basahin the rest of your arguments, no? So because you know that the person is going to be hostile or even will oppose proposal, lay it to him or her, no? First yung mga basis mo bago mo ibigay yung iyong proposal o yung iyong request. Okay? Next, what are the strategies for organizing workplace documents? Okay, so dito, no, ano ba yung pwede nating gawing order or yung pagkakasunod-sunod, or how do we discuss yung content ng ating workplace document? No, basically certain content or subject matter, okay, would require a certain kind of strategy, no? So itong mga strategy na pag-uusapan natin, kadalasan sa kanila mayroon talagang binabagayan na subject matter, no? So ang first dyan is yung problem solutions pattern, no? So in this particular strategy, you are identifying that there is a problem. Okay? So you're trying to inform your reader na may problema tayo, na may problema, and you are trying to suggest a solution, no? So in this particular strategy or pattern, no, this is helpful if you want someone to do something about a certain problem, no? So problem solution yung ginagawa natin. For example, kung ang problema natin ay madumi ang ating kapaligiran, no, kasi ang daming basura sa paligid, no? So for example, you're going to write to the mayor, no? Sabi mo na, Mayor, we would like to magre-request kayo ng solution sa kanya, no? Pero it would be better if you can suggest your own solution. So probably you will be saying, Mayor, ang nakikita po namin problem is nagiging makalat na po ang ating mga streets. Okay? Our solution, therefore, is that we hire more people who would be sweeping the streets or collecting the trash or garbage in a regular basis, so as to maintain the cleanliness in our streets. Okay? So one problem can also involve several solutions, no, na binibigay natin as options doon sa ating reader, no? So especially if you are talking to or you're communicating to someone who has the ability to implement such solutions. Okay? So the thing about this kind of pattern is that we have to focus on the solution. Okay? Yes, it is important to identify the problem. Okay? But your reader might be more interested with the solution, no? So you will expound more on the solution rather than the problem. Okay? So if you can present alternative solutions, that would be better. Okay? If you are not so sure regarding the viability of the solution that you are suggesting, you might also want to suggest to your reader to conduct further research, okay, in a particular area. Okay, at least na suggest mo sa kanila kung saan dapat mag-focus. The next strategy is compare and contrast. Okay, so compare and contrast. Okay, basically in this strategy, this is more applicable if you're trying to show the difference or similarity between two people, two solutions, two products, no? So the main purpose of this kind of strategy is to give the reader a proper perspective in making a choice, okay, between two options. Okay, so kadalasan ito ay it could be a sales pitch, no? So you're trying to convince your reader na yung product mo ay mas better sa isang leading brand, no? So that would be compare and contrast. You can also it can also apply, no? For example sa HR, no? Sino ang i-hire mo? Ito ba o ito, no? So there is a comparison, no? But the thing we should be careful about in using the compare and contrast strategy is that we must remove our own biases and prejudices, no? So this will be more effective if you can be objective, no? Tanggalin mo muna lahat ng iyong personal preferences, yung mga personal biases mo, tanggalin mo muna, no, when you're using this strategy, no, so that you can give your reader a proper evaluation of the two options that they should consider. Okay, the next strategy is the cause and effect. Okay, so in this particular strategy, we're trying to show the relationship between the cause and the effect, no? So ito naman, no, parang gusto nating sabihin sa reader natin na pag itong bagay na ito or this tradition or this practice is not stopped, ganito ang mangyayari, no? O kaya naman it could be the other way around, no? You can say na kaya ganito ang nangyayari kasi ito ang cost nito, no? So that would be the cause and effect relationship, no? However, when we're using this strategy, we have to be very careful with yung mga fallacies natin, no? You could be committing overgeneralization or pwede naman na yung argument or yung connection is not necessarily logical, no? So pagdating dito, you have to be very objective, no? You have to also remove your own biases, no, para you can give your reader a proper perspective between the cause and the effect, no? Similar to the problem and solution strategy, okay, it would be more helpful if you'll focus on the effect, no? Kasi kadalasan nga as I was saying a while ago, no, the cause and effect normally is about telling the reader that this effect is happening because of this, no? So with that in mind, no, 'di ba parang halimbawa sasabihin natin na bakit ba tumataas ang presyo ng bigas, kunwari, no? Bakit ba siya tumataas ang presyo? Okay, ang nakikita natin is yung effect eh. Yung effect is tumataas ang bigas. Okay, ang presyo ng bigas, no? Pero bakit ba, no? So bumababa ba ang supply, no? Or masyado na bang tumataas ang demand, no? So those could be possible causes, or possible na dahil madaming calamities or natural disasters, bumababa ang ating production ng rice, no? And therefore aangkat tayo, and that would also increase the price of the rice, no? So those are causes, no? It is helpful to emphasize on the effect, no? Kasi the effect is the one for which the reader is more concerned about, no? The causes can be varied, no? Pero ang importante sa reader, ano bang epekto nito, no? So mas maganda if you can also establish the effect vis-a-vis yung reader. Anong epekto nito sa reader, no? If you can establish that connection, no, mas magiging effective siyan kasi meron ng personal interest yung reader, no? Bakit ba ako makikinig sa iyo? Kasi ganito yung effect, no? Maapektuhan din ako niyan, no? So yun yung cause and effect. Okay? Another strategy is chronological. No, so for chronological, no, this is helpful if you're trying to recount what happened, a sequence of events. So that would be chronological. It is also helpful if you're trying to instruct people on a step-by-step procedure. No? So chronological siya kasi dapat may tamang pagkakasunod-sunod siya. So if you are asking, for example, if you're telling people on how to dispose of hazardous materials, ano yung mga step by step na gagawin nila to dispose of hazardous materials, that would be chronological, no, yung strategy na gagamitin mo. Okay? Another strategy is immediacy and remoteness, no? So in this particular technique, no, this would normally entail a lot of possible elements, no, or yung mga pare-pareho na categories, no. However, what you're trying to tell your reader is that he or she should prioritize certain options or certain items in your communication, okay, because of for example urgency or importance, no. So for example, maraming problema na kinakaharap ang isang organization, okay. Kunwari kulang sa budget, kulang sa manpower, okay, low moral, o kaya ay walang loyalty ang mga tao, no, ganyan, no. Kunwari yun yung mga problems niya, no. So if you are the one who is going to give a report, no, to your superior regarding these problems, kailangan i-determine mo alin ba doon sa mga apat na yon na nabanggit ko ang pinakang urgent o kailangan na kaagad malaman nung reader mo, no. So by prioritizing which is the most important, no, and putting it in the beginning, no, sa unahan, no, therefore your reader will be able to focus on that, no. Contrast that kung sa dulo mo siya ilalagay, no. So probably ang thinking ng reader is hindi siya masyadong importante kasi nasa bandang huli na siya, na. So those are the strategies for organizing workplace documents. The next stage is the drafting stage. So ayan, nakapagplano ka na, nakakuha ka na ng mga resources, and then na-conceptualize mo na kung ano ang magiging strategy mo. Okay, now you are going to draft your workplace communication. So what are the pre-writing strategies that you can employ? Before you write your workplace communication, okay, you might want to undergo the pre-writing phase. Okay, so ano ba yung mga pre-writing strategies na pwede natin gamitin? The first one is talking out. Okay, ano ba yung talking out, no? As the term suggests, no, you have to talk, no. This time you talk to someone. Parang you're going to tell someone what are your plans, anong sasabihin mo in your communication. Okay, so you're asking that person for input. Ano sa tingin niya ang magiging effect ng communication mo? You will ask how it could be improved or ano ang pwede mo pang gawing atake doon sa iyong communication. Okay? Another pre-writing strategy is brainstorming. So again, this one is already something that we are familiar with, no? So kung sa talking out, you're simply asking someone for his or her opinion. In brainstorming, you are asking more people, no? Kasi nga two heads are better than one, no? So dito, no, you're trying to get the consensus o kaya ay yung prevailing opinion ng mas nakakaraming tao. Okay? Another pre-writing strategy is pre-writing, no? Free writing. So this is helpful if you are drawing blanks, no? So pag wala ka talagang hindi mo alam kung ano ang gagawin mong construction ng iyong communication, may idea ka kung ano gusto mong sabihin pero hindi mo siya ma-organize ng maayos, no? So what you can do is free writing. Basta isulat mo lang ng isulat, no, yung lahat ng gusto mong sabihin, and then once na malagay mo na siya, tsaka mo na lang siya i-rearrange, no, para magkaroon ka ng proper organization. Some people on the other hand are more comfortable with a formal outlining, no? Kasi yung iba mas OC, no? Mas gusto nila mas magandang tingnan, mas maayos, no? So they would prefer to have a formal outline, no? This is really helpful, no? Kasi at least makikita mo na talaga kung ano ang magiging takbo ng iyong communication if you have that formal outline. Okay? And finally, listing and mapping. Okay, so dito sa listing and mapping, this is helpful if you have several aspects, several elements, and hindi mo alam kung ano ang kanilang relationship sa isa't isa, paano mo sila i-discuss in relation to one another, no? So what you want to do, what you can do is you list all these concepts or this ideas, and then you try to map them out, no? So pwede ka mag-draw ng mga lines to connect them, to show that may ganitong relationship yan, anong connected sa isa't isa na mga concepts or ideas. So therefore, after doing that, alam mo na kaagad ngayon, no? So ano ba ang magiging atake mo by seeing the relationship of these concepts to one another. Now that you're ready to draft your workplace communication or document, no? Let's move on to the different parts of your document. First, let us talk about drafting the introduction for workplace documents. Okay, you see, generally, in all workplace documents, you need an introduction. Okay, so the introduction will give your reader a proper perspective of the context, the background, okay, the possible motivation why you are writing this document, no? So this will give your reader an overview of what you want to tell them. Okay, so an introduction could also be something that will induce the interest of your reader, no? So it could be something interesting, no? In some cases, introductions could be neutral or something that will not trigger any kind of emotion from the reader, no? Kadalasan yan pagka bad news, no, yung introduction yan, ginagamit natin dyan is neutral yung introduction para hindi naman ma-agitate kaagad yung ating reader, no? So depending on what is the content, no, you could be more creative with your introduction. You could also take into consideration the image and the culture of your of the organization or company that you're representing in order for you to craft the proper introduction for your workplace document. Next is drafting the discussion for your workplace documents. Okay, so you should know how to construct a claim. Okay, so especially if you're trying to propose something, or you're trying to persuade your reader into to changing an opinion or to adopt a particular measure, you have to have a proper claim. Okay? Your claim should be stated clearly, and it must contain the necessary basis for your reader to make an informed decision. Okay? And how will your reader have that informed decision, or how will your reader decide properly, no? Then you have to identify your source of evidence, no? Kasi syempre your claim is just a claim, no? Para paniwalaan ka ng reader mo na tama yung claim mo or yung argument mo, then you have to present your evidence. Okay? So the quality of your evidence can be greatly affected by your source. So saan ba nanggaling ang evidence mo that supports your claim? No, if it is a reliable source, then it is better, no? So kung ito ay, for example, dubious yung kanyang pinagmulan, edi baka hindi siya bigyan ng weight ng ating reader. Okay? Another good practice here is to challenge your own evidence, no? Kasi parang devil's advocate, no? Kumbaga, ikaw din, kontrahin mo din yung sarili mo. Isipin mo, how will your reader, especially if the reader is opposing your claim, no? How will your reader oppose your own evidence, no? Baka kasi mayroon palang paraan para ma-debunk yung iyong evidence, no? So you really have to prepare for that. Okay? And also, you should be able to link your claim and your evidence through logic. Okay? So dapat mapakita mo dun sa reader mo na yung claim mo is well supported by evidence, and there is no other outcome but the connection of your claim and your evidence, no? So dapat mapakita mo yung clear na connection ng dalawa, okay, through proper logic. So after you have already crafted your introduction and the discussion of your workplace documents, then you have to draft your conclusion. Okay, so for the conclusion, it could be a combination of the following, or one or two of it, or one of it, or in some cases it could be all, no? So what are these things that you can consider for your conclusions, no? So first is your recommendations or solutions. So this is applicable if there is if you're talking about a certain problem, and you would like to suggest to your reader what could be the possible solution to this problem. This is of course applicable if your reader is in the position of executing such solutions, no? So pagka halimbawa may problema kayo in your community and you are addressing this problem to our leaders of the community, let's say for example chief executive of the LGU, no? So that is something that you can consider, no? Recommendations and solutions. So what if, for example, you are simply urging someone to adopt a particular lifestyle or a particular option, okay? Or you are informing someone that there could be a possible adverse effect if something continues, no? Then you can focus on the significance or consequences. Okay, so in this particular approach, no, so you are focusing what can the reader benefit from adopting a certain measure or a certain policy, okay? Or consequently, you can also expound on what are the possible consequences that the reader or the society or the community might suffer from if certain situation is not remedied, or if certain steps are not taken. Okay. Another thing that we might consider are the trends and predictions, no? So trends and predictions are basically showing your reader that this is what's happening right now, no? And this is what's going to happen next, okay? And what would happen after that, no? So these are trends and predictions, no? So not necessarily you're not necessarily trying to tell your reader, okay, certain consequences of an act, no? However, what you're trying to show your reader is what could be the outcome, okay, possible outcomes, okay, if a particular series of events are not stopped, or if there's no intervention implemented, okay. A conclusion can also contain a plan of action, no? So ano ba yung anong pwedeng magawa, anong gawin, ano ang susunod na gagawin natin, no? So this is a conclusion that might be applicable whenever a superior is talking to a subordinate. So you're basically trying to tell your subordinates, this is what we're going to do, okay. And finally, there could be questions for further research or investigation, no? So you can be urging your reader, okay, to investigate further. So what for example, yung topic mo, ang ending nun, you're trying to say na although kulang pa yung aking alam, no, but maybe further investigation should be warranted, no, for this one, no? So baka pwede pa tayo mag-imbestiga tungkol dito sa subject matter na ito. Sometimes in working on your workplace documents, there are some documents that you want to refer to, no, as evidence or proof, okay, or sometimes there are some documents that are too long, okay, for you to mention in the workplace document itself. So you simply would have will mention that it is also attached as an appendice in your document, no? Basically, appendices are your supporting documents, okay, in your workplace paper, no, or communication, okay. Basically, what you're trying to tell your reader is that here is my claim. If you want further evidence, if you want further proof, eto, nakadikit na, nakatouch na siya dito. So you can just look at it if you want to. The final stage is the polishing stage. So in this particular stage, you have already created a draft, and now you're reviewing it and you're trying to revise it accordingly. So what are the things to consider in the polishing stage? First, you should prioritize your revisions. So you should know what is the proper outcome that you want to have after your revision. So based on that, okay, you should focus on what you should really change. Okay, so sometimes your document merely need a few revisions and sometimes you have to have your major revisions, no? So but you have to prioritize which is the most important revisions that you should make. Okay, so later on we could focus on what are the what kind of revision you should be prioritizing. Also, you should have the big picture. Okay, sometimes when you write a document or a communication, you can be sidetracked. Okay, you should see your document as a whole, no? So that's why we say the big picture, no? So sometimes you're going off topic, no? Nagiging off tangent ka na, no? So dapat kaya mong ibalik yung discussion to what you really intend your reader to get, no, from your communication. In revising your document, you might consider revising for a clear sense of audience, purpose, and organization. So what do we mean by that? So you might want to revise it for the audience needs, no? So let's say for example, you have already created a draft, but upon reading it, na-realize mo na, wait lang, parang hindi yata ako nakakatugon sa pangangailangan ng aking reader. Baka yung reader ko is asking for a certain information, but in the end, parang pakiramdam ko hindi ko naman yata nasagot yung tinatanong niya sa akin or yung information na gusto niyang makuha sa akin. So, in that regard, you have to revise it to suit the audience needs. Next is revising for the author's purposes and the reader's purposes. So, dito kanina, we talked about how to match your purpose and your reader's purpose. So, upon creating your draft and na-realize mo, wait lang, parang hindi yata nagja-jive yung aming purposes. So, you might want to revise your document or your communication in order to establish that relationship, no? Yung mag-sync yung purpose mo at saka yung purpose ng reader mo. And also, you can revise for organizational clarity. No? So, with this kind of this revision, no, you are trying to show yung certain arrangement ng iyong discussion, no, para maging malinaw at mabasa ng maayos ng audience yung gusto mong sabihin. Kasi possible na nag-draft ka, yung mga concepts mo, yung mga arguments mo medyo all over the place, no? So you might want to consider revising it to reorganize yung flow ng iyong ideas. Next, you might want to consider revising for appropriate language and style. So, ano-ano ba yung pwede natin i-consider dyan? Okay, first, revising for clarity. So, if you think that your draft is a little bit confusing, no? Baka yung mga arguments mo might contradict one another, o kaya yung mga information mo ay medyo sali-saliwa, no? So you might want to revise it for clarity, no, para maging clear yung message ng iyong communication. Okay? Also, you might want to revise for conciseness. Kasi baka naman yung communication mo masyado siyang mahaba, tapos marami pa siyang paligoy-ligoy, no? So alam naman natin na medyo mahina ang maikli ang time ang attention span ng mga tao. So you might want to revise for conciseness, no, para mapaikli siya, maging compact, no, para mas madali siyang i-digest ng ating readers. You could also revise for naturalness, no. So baka kasi yung ating the way we wrote our draft, no, parang napaka-artificial siya, no. So parang you want to project, no, a more humane approach doon sa iyong communication. So you might want to revise for naturalness, no? And finally, revising for tactfulness, tone, attitude, and sexism. So you have to be very careful about this one, no? So baka kasi you might offend someone or a group of people because of the way you talk or communicate through your document, no? So you might want to check on that, no? So later on we'll be talking about sexism as well in the end, no? So this is to make sure that your communication will not be offensive. Although you have already your content, your subject matter, you employed the proper strategies in drafting, you have already revised your document. Another thing that we should really consider is the design of the workplace documents. In designing your workplace document, you have to consider the purpose for creating that workplace document. So let's say, for example, for informative workplace documents, what we might want to see are tables, graphs, illustrations, perhaps. If it is something that talks about how things work, then probably some illustrations of a step-by-step procedure. Okay, those are things that we might want to appreciate in an informative workplace communication. Okay, for persuasive documents, on the other hand, we might want to lean towards things that will focus on your arguments. Okay, So sometimes we can employ some some kind of deviation in fonts. So you use different fonts for different words to emphasize on those words. We can also use some tables, some graphs to show the evidence. Sometimes you can also use photographs or pictures to prove a certain point. Okay, so that's for persuasive workplace documents. Another thing to consider in designing your workplace document is the audience factors. Okay, so who are you talking to? Because sometimes there are audience who are more inclined to believe evidences when they see it. So more graphics, more pictures would help your audience understand your document better. However, there are some times that your readers would prefer more text over. So what are the design elements that we may use to our advantage? Okay, the first one is the paper size. Okay, for government employees and government offices, our official paper size would be A4. Okay, however, some agencies, some corporations or organizations would prefer a different paper size. Okay, that would really depend, no, on what kind of paper size is customarily used in that particular organization, institution, or agency. Okay. Another design element is the covers. No? So some would prefer intricate covers, or some would just prefer practical covers. No, so it really helps the reader, no, to understand what is the content if there is a proper cover. Okay. Another thing that can help project a message or information is the color. Okay, it could be the color of the paper. It could be the color of the font. Okay, for example, if the font color is red, the general consensus is that it could project anger, or it could project energy. Okay, when you see something green, so it might project a sense of hope or a sense of nature. No, so those are things that you can consider. No, especially when color is something that can be used in workplace communication. Another thing to consider is the type style, yung font style natin na sinasabi, no? So the generic would be the Times New Roman, okay, but your organization might be adopting some kind of different type style, no? Maybe your organization would like to show their whimsical side, no, kaya medyo kakaiba yung kanilang font. 'Di ba, meron din tayo nakikita minsan Comic Sans ang gagamitin nilang font, no? So parang magiging informal yung dating ng kanilang ng font, no? So if you want to be a little bit light, humorous, you can use different kinds of font styles, no? For font size, on the other hand, no, in this particular design element, it is sometimes limited by your space, no? So for example, if your document is is supposed to be only one page, so the tendency is to use as a smaller type size. Okay, but using different type size can also project certain effects. Let's say for example, you want to emphasize, gusto mong emphasize yung isang word o kaya isang sentence. Sometimes what we can do is to use a larger type size, no, than the normal type than the normal paragraphs, no. So that could be something that can that we can use to emphasize on things, no? Another thing about type size is that you will notice that a type style would also dictate how the type size is, no? Kasi may mga type style na by nature malalaki na talaga siya, no? So it will follow yung type size niya, no? So ito very varied ito, no, pagdating sa uri ng type style. We also have formal elements in the design of our workplace documents, and these are margins, no? So we all know, no, medyo nakakaiba-iba yung mga margins natin depending on the availability of the space, o kaya naman ay if there is a prescribed margin, no? Columns are also something that can be varied depending on the particular document that you are producing, no? Sometimes kasi pwedeng dalawang columns niya, o kaya naman ay pwedeng pag siya ay landscape, pwedeng maging tatlo pa, no? Headings and subheadings are also something that corporations, organizations are normally using, no? So this would normally include yung title or name ng inyong company, organization, or department, no? Next is the lists. How do we manifest list in our documents? So sometimes it's just as easy as having bullets in our documents, no? Are you going to use yung 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Are you going to use A, B, C, D, E? No? Are you going to use I, double I, triple I, yung ganun, no? So this is something that you can also consider, no? Highlighting, no? So when you are when you're trying to highlight a certain word or certain phrase, you can do outlining, shadowing, or italicizing, bold facing, and underlining, no, yung words na yon, no? And finally, we have our boxes and shadings, no? So this is also used for emphasizing or separating certain elements of your workplace documents from other. Now let's move on to the kinds of workplace documents. Ano-ano ba yung mga usual workplace documents na ginagamit natin? First are letters and memos. So this kind of documents basically are meant to inform people and also to tell them what to do, okay, and how to do it. Okay, so what are the features of a good memo? First, it follows the standard format. Okay, so basically memos or memorandums have a certain format, no? So which I will be showing you a sample later. Okay, so it includes certain features. It has the memo or memorandum as a heading or near the top, no? So that the reader can properly identify it as a memo or memorandum. Okay, we have the two-line, which provides the full name, title, and or department of the receiver. So kung para kanino ba yung itong memo na ito. From line, which provides the full name, title, and or department of the sender. However, sometimes wala silang from line sa taas, no? Ang nangyayari, meron na lang siyang signatory sa dulo sa baba, no? Just like what we're doing here at URS, no? There should be a date line, no? Kailan ba siya na-release? And finally, there should be a subject line, no, which provides a clear, accurate, but brief indication of what the memo is about, no? So parang sa first glance pa lang dun sa subject line, dapat may idea na yung ating readers kung para saan ba yung memo na yon. A memo is organized into paragraphs. That means to say you have to use your sentences. Okay, so complete thoughts. Okay, it also includes no inappropriate content. Okay, so since this is a formal document, no, so hindi pwedeng yung maglalagay tayo ng bastos o kaya ay offensive, no? It also uses clear, simple language kasi you have to think about your readers, no? Baka kasi yung readers mo ay have a difficulty understanding your memo pagka masyadong highfalutin or complicated yung mga language na ginagamit mo. Okay? You should also maintain an appropriate tone, neither too formal nor conversational, no? So dapat yung memo, no, neutral lang siya, no? Hindi naman sa napaka-formal daw to the point na mai-intimidate na yung reader natin. At the same time, hindi naman siya masyadong conversational na para lang tayo nagkwekwentuhan, no? It also contains no typos or mechanical errors in spelling, capitalization, punctuation, and grammar. So ito yung medyo may challenge talaga, no? Kasi kadalasan pagka may mga typos or grammatical errors, it's because of the urgency to release such memo, no? Kaya minsan na-overlook yung ganyan. So ito yung example ng isang memo. Okay, so as we can see in this sample, we have the memo or the memorandum right on top, no? So alam na kagad ng reader na this is in fact a memo. Okay? Next, we have the to line, no? So in this particular case, it's to all employees. Next, we have from line. So kung kanino ba galing itong memo na ito, no? And then we have our date line, no? And finally, we have the subject line, no? So makikita natin kumpleto yung details dito sa example na ito. Now, what are the things that we should avoid in making a memo? First, flaming. What is flaming? It is openly hostile or abusive comments, whether directed at the reader or toward a third party. Okay? So ito yung nagpro-project ka ng galit o kaya ay you are directly trying to provoke someone, no, through your memo. Okay? Another taboo is screaming. Composing the entire memo in capital letters, no? 'Di ba similar to text messages, 'di ba? Pagka ang text message natin ay all caps, parang ang ibig sabihin nun ay sumisigaw, no? So hindi dapat nag-all caps pagka nagme-memo. Okay? And finally, we have spamming. Okay? Sending memos to everyone in the network even though it is not applicable to all. So basically, memo should also we should only be released to those who have an interest over that memo, no? Kung sino lang yung concerned doon sa memo, sila lang ang nakakatanggap nito. As for letters, ano ba yung mga typical purposes kung bakit tayo sumusulat? Okay, first is to ask for information. So kung may gusto kang makuha na data or magtanong regarding certain information from another person, then you write them an inquiry letter. Okay? We can also write a letter to sell a product or service. So this is a sales letter, no? So sometimes companies or stores can write these letters to potential clients. And next, what if you want to purchase a product or service? Now that would be an order letter. So you are ordering some product or service from a service provider or a manufacturer. Okay, also if someone is refusing to pay a certain amount of money, you can also request payment through a collection letter. Okay, now let's say for example that a wrong has been done and you want to voice a complaint, no, to rectify this wrong, no? So that would be a claim letter. Okay, and if you are responding to such a claim letter, then you are practically making an adjustment letter. Okay, and finally, if you want to thank someone, then you are basically making an acknowledgement letter. So what are the common styles in writing letters? First, we have the modified block style with indented paragraphs. So the date line, the complementary clause, and the writer's identification all begin at the center of the page. The first line of each paragraph is indented 5 spaces, and all other lines are flushed with the left-hand margin. So, ganito ang itsura niya. So, we can see yung date, complementary clause, at yung identification ng writer ay starting, no, at in the middle of the page. And then we can see that each paragraph starts with Another common style is the modified block. This is where the date line, the complementary clause, and the writer's identification all begin at the center of the page. All other lines, including the first line of each paragraph, are flush with the left margin. Okay, so tingnan natin kung ano itsura niya. So ayan, ito ang ating modified block. So as you can see, the date, as well as the complementary clause, and the identification of the writer all starts from the middle of the page. However, we can see that all the rest are all flush to the left. Okay? So yan yung pinagkaiba lang niya, no, from the modified block with indented paragraphs. Yung mga paragraphs dito sa modified block ay hindi indented yung mga first lines nila, no, as contrast to the first one. So makikita natin dyan, no, hindi sila indented. And then we have the full block. Here, every line, including the first line of each paragraph, is flush with the left hand margin. Okay, so let's see how it looks like. Ayan, so makikita natin all lines are flush to the left, no? So ito yung actually pinakang madali na tandaan, no? That's why whenever I'm asked to write a formal letter, I always choose the full block, no? Kasi para hindi ka na magkakamali, basta lahat ay magsisimula sa kaliwa, no? So lahat sila ay flush to the left. Okay, so kahit yan ay date, yung kanyang complementary clause, at saka yung identification of the writer, lahat yan ay sa left. And even the first lines of each paragraph, silang lahat ay hindi naka-indent. Instead, they are flushed to the left. Another common workplace communication or document are reports. Okay, so this is a kind of workplace documents that we are usually asked to produce. So, what are the types of reports? First, we have the incident report. We also have the progress report, the recommendation report, and travel report. For the incident report, so basically these are reports about a certain occurrence, no? May nangyari, no? So, what are the features of an incident report? You should specify the names and titles. Okay, for example, Dr. ba siya, Mr. ba siya, Miss ba siya, okay, attorney ba siya, no? So you have to be very careful about the names and the titles. Okay, next, step-by-step narrative. Ano ba yung nangyari? Sunod-sunod, no? Exact location, saan siya nangyari? Anong date at exact time nangyari yung incident? Clear identification of any equipment kung meron mang nandoon sa scene, detailed description of any medical intervention kung kinailangan ng medical intervention ng parties involved doon sa incident, reliable statements ng mga testigo kung merong mga testigong nandoon, no? Outcome of the incident, anong nangyari, no? Ano nang nangyari after, no? And dapat, in stating speculations, use words like perhaps, maybe, possibly, and it appears, no? So this is very important, no? Yung mga words na yan. Kasi para malaman ng mga audience or ng reader na you are not sure about this information, no? This is merely speculation. So para may heads up na itong sinasabi mo ito, this is not yet confirmed, no? So this is just your speculation. Next, progress report. So basically, progress reports are done when there is a project or an activity being done, no? So what should it include? There must be an introduction, briefly stating and describing what the project or the activity is. Then you're going to talk about the work completed. So how much has been completed already, no? So sasabihin natin yan. Maybe you can talk about percentage of work completed. Once you have already talked about the work completed, then you also have to talk about what are the work remaining. Ano pa ba ang natitirang kailangang gawin? Okay? And next, if there are any problems encountered or you see that something that might go wrong in the project or in the activity. And then finally, conclusions. Next is the recommendation report. So what are its features? First, you have to talk about the problem. Okay, so describe what could be the root cause of this problem and what could be the effects of this problem. Next, you have to suggest the solution. Now, that's why it's a recommendation report, no? So, may problema tayo, ano ang possible solution? You might want to also include alternative solutions if there is any, no? And then you discuss, no? You will discuss the solution itself, okay? And how it will the problem. Next, the travel report. So what are the parts of a travel report? You have your introduction, briefly explaining what the travel is for. Next, the description of activity, service performed. Okay, so if you are, for example, going outside of your institution or organization because you are asked to do something, then you have to describe the service performed. No? Next is the cost accounting. What are the costs involved in your travel? And finally, discussion. No? Assess the usefulness of the activity. Could be the benefits of going through this travel. Now we go to proposals. So this is something that is really tricky, no? Kasi whenever we have a project in mind, naturally it must be proposed, no? So you have to make a proposal. So what are the types of proposals? We have the solicited proposals and the unsolicited proposals. Solicited proposals are those which are requested by an agency, by a superior, or by a third party, no? So you basically created a proposal because somebody asked you to do it. That's why it's called a solicited proposal. Unsolicited proposals, on the other hand, are done out of the initiative of the proponent, no? So ito yung motivation ng proponent ang naging factor kaya siya nag-propose, okay, ng isang project or activity. Okay, so unsolicited proposals may also be motivated by a perceived problem by the proponent, no? Kaya siya nag-create ng proposal na ganito. The proposal writing process. First is planning the proposal. So at this stage, you are trying to determine what is it that you want to propose. Okay, you have to determine who the approving authority is. Okay, what are the resources that are available to you. Okay, next is researching the proposal. Okay, so now you have to gather all the information, all the data pertinent to your proposal to substantiate your claim. Okay, and next is organizing the proposal. You have to use one of the strategies in order to make a persuasive proposal. Next is drafting the proposal. No? So now you have to create a prototype of your proposal by creating a draft, okay, in order for you to see if there are some revisions to be made, no? And finally, polishing it through revising the proposal. So at this point, you have to be able to identify if there is some lacking elements, or if you are already veering away from your actual purpose. In creating our workplace communication or documents, we must remember to be gender sensitive. One problem that we might encounter in writing our workplace communication or document is what we call the sexism in language. So it is the use of language which devalues members of one sex, almost invariably women, and thus fosters gender inequality. It discriminates against women by rendering them invisible or trivializing them at the same time that it perpetuates notions of male supremacy. So basically what we're saying here is that there are languages that tends to downplay the roles of women in our society. So that those are words or statements and constructions that we should really avoid from using. It inaccurately represents individuals who are female or groups who are partly or wholly female. It misleadingly focuses on the sex of the individual rather than what they are doing. And finally, it indicates bias even when you have no intention of doing so. So how to avoid being sexist? You see, the problem is by using either he, his, or him as a generic pronoun when the reference gender is unknown or irrelevant, the writer misrepresents the species as male. So, most of the time, no, makakakita tayo ng mga documents or for example sa mga history books, no, makikita natin whenever we pertain to a certain group of people o kaya humankind in general, ang ginagamit natin mga pronouns is he, his, or him, no? But when we do that, no, we inadvertently eliminate or erase, no, the trace of women in that particular discussion, no? Kasi possible na mayroon namang mga women participants in that particular activity, and yet we use he, his, or him as pronouns. Therefore, parang ang presumption natin is puro lalaki lang yung participants doon. So what can we do? Solution number 1, write the sentence without pronouns. Try to avoid conditional structures generally introduced by if or when, which often require the use of pronouns. For example, if the original statement is, if the researcher is the principal investigator, he should place an asterisk after his name. So as we can notice, okay, we are using the pronouns he and his without verifying if the researcher is indeed a man or if the researcher is a woman. So what can we do? The gender fair option is to place an asterisk after the name of the principal investigator. Okay, so we avoided the use of pronouns. Solution number 2. Use gender-specific pronouns only to identify a specific gender or a specific person. So this is done when you are certain that the subject is actually a man or a woman. Example, the original text, repeat the question for each subject so that he understands it. So how do we convert that? Here is the gender fair version. Repeat the question for each male subject so that he fully understands it. So ang makikita natin dito, kasi sure tayo na lalaki talaga yung pinag-uusapan. That's why pwede natin gamitin yung pronoun na he. So in this particular solution, no, ang gagawin daw natin, if we are certain, we can be certain that the subject is in fact a male or a female, then we can use the proper pronoun to pertain to that subject. Solution number 3. Use plural nouns and pronouns if they do not change the meaning of the sentence. Example, for the original text, it says, repeat the question for each subject so that he understands it. Again, we can see that there is the use of he as a pronoun, whereas there is no certainty as to the sex of the subject. Okay, so the gender fair version should be, repeat the question for all subjects so that they understand it. So as you can see, ang ginamit natin na pronoun is plural. No? We will notice that it is only sex specific pag ang ginagamit nating pronoun is third party or third person point of view. Kaya siya magiging he, she, him, her, mga ganon, no? Pero pagka siya ay plural, okay, plural, siya ay gender neutral or neutral siya pagdating sa sex ng ating subject. So that is another option using plural pronouns. Solution number 4. Use a first or second person perspective. Notice that only the third person singular is marked for gender. So again, ito yung sinasabi ko kanina, no? Yung nagiging problema kasi natin is when we use the third person singular pronoun, no? Kasi doon lang nagkakaroon ng specific sa male at saka sa female. So kanina, kung ang gagamitin natin is plural na pronoun, walang problema, no? In this solution, pwede naman natin gamitin is yung second person or yung first person perspective kasi doon wala rin tayong mark for gender. Example, for the original text, the driver should take his completed registration form to the clerk's window and pay his license fee. So of course, again, we are incorrectly using pronouns which are pertaining to men. The gender fair alternative should be, you should take your completed registration form to the clerk's window and pay your license fee. So as you will notice, ginawa siyang second person, no? So by doing so, natanggal natin yung pronoun na he, his. Here is an alternative application of that solution. The original text says, the principal investigator for this report has appended data tables to his summary. So the gender fair alternative says, I have appended data tables to the summary of this report. So you'll notice in the previous slide, no, ang ginamit natin ay second person. So this time naman, ang ginamit natin first person. And by doing so, natanggal natin yung third person na male pronoun. Solution number 5. Use a double pronoun. Example, you say he or she, or he, she, him, and her. Okay? Ito actually yung isa sa pinakamadaling solution, ano? So if you are in doubt kung paano siya gagawin, this is the easiest way to remember. Okay, for example, in the original text, it says, each supervisor will be at his workstation by 8 a.m. So what could be the gender fair alternative? Each supervisor will be at his or her workstation by 8 a.m. Okay, so ginamit na natin pareho his or her, no, para sure. Solution number 6. Use an article instead of a possessive pronoun as a modifier. Okay, so you can use a or the instead of a possessive pronoun. Example, the original text states, after filling out his class schedule, the student should place it in the registrar's basket. Okay, the gender fair alternative would be, after filling out a class schedule, the student should place it in the registrar's basket. So what did we do here? Okay, so the problem here is we said after filling out his class schedule. So anong ginawa natin? We replace the possessive pronoun his with an article, no? So nilagyan na lang natin ng a. So nangyari, after filling out a class schedule, the student should place it in the registrar's basket, therefore transforming it to a gender-fair version. Solution number 7. Sparingly use the passive voice. So here is an example. The original text says, if a student wishes to avoid sex bias in his writing, he should examine these alternatives. So ang gender-fair alternative natin, these alternatives should be examined by any student who wishes to avoid sex bias in writing. So ayan. Hopefully, through our discussion, you will be able to craft effective and efficient workplace communication or document, as well as gender-sensitive documents. So I hope that you learned something from our discussion and that you can apply it in your actual workplace. Thank you very much.